Hello children, today we'll start a new chapter, chapter 15, Light. One of the most important senses that we human beings have is to see the world around us. What enables us to see? It's light that enables us to see the objects. For thousands of years, people have been curious about light, its properties and behavior. The earliest experiments on light involved the study of light using mirrors and lenses. So, it is very interesting and exciting to study light and its properties. In this chapter, we will learn about how light propagates, or you can say travels, how it behaves when it is reflected by mirrors, and when it passes through lenses and prisms. How it behaves, this we'll understand. So let us start with rectilinear propagation of light. Light travels along a straight line. Generally, light travels in straight line in a uniform transparent medium or in vacuum. This mode of propagation of light is called rectilinear propagation of light. Now let us understand this. For this you need to have some material, a flexible rubber or plastic tube or a straw of length 10 inches and a light bulb or candle. As you can see on the screen, hold the tube absolutely straight and point one open end to the source of light and put your eye to the other hole. What do you see? Now bend the tube and look through the hole. Now what do you see? This time, when the tube is held straight, as you can see on the screen, when the tube is held straight, the source of light can be seen, that is the flame of the candle, right? However, when the tube is bent, you can see on the screen, the source of light cannot be seen. What it concludes? It concludes or indicates that light travels in straight line because it is easy for you to see from the straight straw, straight rubber tube or straight pipe. I hope it is clear to you now. So rectilinear propagation of light explains a lot of phenomena associated with light. One such phenomena is the formation of shadows. Now next is reflection of light. Now, in this topic, we'll understand the reflection, a new concept, a new phenomena. You can see an object when light falls on it, right? When light falls on a surface, it bounces off the surface. This is called reflection, right? So, for this, we go for one activity. Take a torch and cover its glass with a chart paper. Having a small hole, spread a chart paper on a wooden board. Keep a plane mirror vertical on it. Direct a beam of light at an angle to the mirror. The direction of light changes if the torch is moved slightly to the either side. The direction of light also changes, as you can see here on the screen. So when we talk about reflection of light, we talk about how the light, when it falls on a surface, bounces off the surface itself, right? All types of surfaces actually they reflect light. It can be rough, it can be smooth, it can be irregular or regular, as you have studied in class 6. So while talking about reflection of light on a smooth surface, it is called regular, this is called your regular reflection. On when it is a rough surface, it is called irregular reflection or diffused reflection. Now let us understand images formed by a plane mirror. When you see yourself or see the image of an object in a plane mirror, so what do we mean by plane mirror? First we'll understand that. Any smooth polished surface that can reflect the rays of light and form a clear image is called a mirror. any highly polished metal surface, it can be a stainless steel plate or a still water, they acts like a mirror. If you look at yourself closely in a mirror, what do you observe about your image? Is it bigger or smaller than you, or of same size? Place the palm of your hand on the flat surface of the mirror, as you can see on the screen, and study its reflected image. Is the image bigger, smaller, or of the same size? Now, move your hand slowly away from the mirror and observe the size of image all the time. You will see that size of image neither increases nor decreases. It will remain same. So the image is at the same distance behind the mirror as that of object itself in front of it. So now here you have seen the image is erect, the image is same size as that of object, the image is at the same distance from the mirror as the object is in the front of it. The image is virtual, cannot be obtained on a screen. In the image, the right side appears left and left side appears right. So these are the characteristics of the image formed by a plane mirror. So a plane mirror produces an upright virtual image. It is of same size as that of an object, and the image in a plane mirror is laterally inverted. What does it mean? Your right hand image will be, it appears to be left, and left side appears to be right. Now next, let's understand spherical mirrors. Spherical mirrors are curved mirrors. It is a part of a sphere. If we took a hollow sphere and make a straight cut through it, we get a portion that is hollow, as you can see here on the screen also. The polished curved surface of a spherical mirrors also reflect light, but the images formed by them are different from formed by a plane mirror. You can see here, it's a very good example given here, the spoon. This arrangement, the back side is convex if it is shiny on the back side, it is convex, and if it is shiny on the front side, then it is concave. A stainless steel spoon acts like a mirror. The inner side acts as a concave mirror and the outer side acts as a convex mirror. The spherical mirrors are curved mirrors. If the reflecting surface is inside, the spherical mirror is concave. When it is outside, what outside? The reflecting surface is outside, the spherical mirror is a convex mirror. Now let us understand more about images formed by concave mirror. What is a concave mirror? It is a kind of mirror, right? And where the reflecting surface is the inner surface of the sphere, right? So let us conduct an activity for that. For this, you need to have fix a concave mirror on the screen, light a candle and keep it at a distance of 50 cm from the mirror. Try to obtain the image of candle flame on a screen by moving the screen. Observe the image, then move the candle closer to the mirror at different distances and observe the images. Repeat this activity for different distances between the screen and the candle. What do you observe? Now, as you move the concave mirror away from the candle, you will find that you will have to bring the screen closer to the candle to get a sharp image of the candle flame. At one point, the screen is almost at the same point as the candle. After this point, you will have to bring the screen on the same side of the candle as the concave surface. Right? So, this is all about your image formed by concave mirror. The images formed by concave mirror may be smaller or larger depending on the distance between the screen and the object. The image may also be real, can be obtained on a screen, or virtual, cannot be obtained on a screen. The image may be inverted or erect. What do you mean by erect and inverted? Inverted means upside down, and erect means, like if we talk about candle, the candle flame is on the upper portion and the candle the wax is there at the down portion, it will remain the same, right? So that is erect image. If you see the flame downward, then it is the virtual image. Now next, uses of concave mirror. Where do you use this concave mirror and who uses it? Now here concave mirrors are used as reflectors in torches, headlights of cars, scooters, etc. They are used by dentists to see enlarged images of the teeth, where you need to have a close vision, where you need to have to see the what is hidden inside. You need to have concave mirror to find out. Concave mirrors are used by doctors for examining ears, eyes, nose and throat. So this is all about your concave mirror. Now next we'll understand images formed by convex mirrors. Now a convex mirror is a spherical mirror in which the reflecting surface is the outer surface of the sphere, right? So the image is smaller in size than the object. Here the image will be smaller. You must have seen in your cars when your father drives and you are sitting with your father in a car, you will see your father is looking continuously in the outer mirror, upper mirror and the left and right mirror, right? So if you see from the left and right mirror of the car, you will see the objects, the vehicles which are coming from the opposite side, from the backward. They will look very small. Otherwise truck or car or vehicle is not that small which is there visible in the mirror. So convex mirror are used as side mirrors in the cars to see the objects which are coming from backside. Convex mirror has a wider view to help drivers to see the traffic behind them, right? As you can see here on the screen. Now next, what are the uses of the spherical mirrors? Uses of plane mirrors we discussed, that it to form all sorts of images. These can be put to use in a variety of applications. Convex mirror is used in supermarkets and parking lots, in vehicles for viewing the entire vehicle as well as the surrounding behind the vehicle. This is all about your concave and convex mirror uses. Now let's understand spherical lenses. A lens is a curved and a polished piece of glass or any other transparent material, just like mirrors. Lenses can also change the direction of propagation of light. So convex and concave lenses are the two common types of lenses, as you can see here on the screen. So convex lens is thick in the middle and thin at the edges. It is also called converging lens, and concave lens is thin in the middle and thick at the edges, and it is called diverging lens. As you can see here on the screen, this is your convex lens. When the light rays fall on the lens, they all it seems like that they are coming at one point. That means they are converging at one point. Here in the concave lens, it is actually diverging lens, which bends the light outwards, right? And it bends the light. In convex mirror, it bends the light inwards, right? So images formed by convex lens can be smaller or larger than the object, also real or virtual. Image may be inverted or erect. Concave, again the same. The image is smaller in size than the object, and the image formed by convex mirror is virtual, cannot be obtained on the screen. So this is all you need to understand about convex lens and concave lens. When you go in higher classes in 8 onwards, you will understand more about the images, how the images formed between optical center and focus and F and 2F concept. You will understand in class 8 onwards. Here only this you need to understand. Uses of lenses. Lenses are used in spectacles, microscopes, telescopes, cameras, etc. Now next let's understand the how many of you are having spectacles? If you go and find out from that shop where you bought that, they'll ask you which type of lens you want to have in your spectacles. Convex or concave is written on the prescription slip, which that person can understand, the person who is writing it and the other person who is making the spectacles for you. So that language is that written style is different. So convex and concave lenses we people are also using to see the near and the far objects according to the numbers, right? Now next is colors. Let's understand the colors. Beautiful colors. So when we talk about colors, we talk about many colors. These colors actually come from the sunlight, right? The white light, if we talk about white light, it is composed of many colors. When these colors combine, they look white. Yes, it's true. When you combine all the colors, you will get white color. One way of showing that white light is composed of the many colors or different colors, let's take an example of an activity we'll do, that is with the prism. Take one glass prism, right, and allow a narrow beam of sunlight to fall on one side of the prism. As you can see here on the screen, keep a screen on the other side of prism. We can see that 7 rainbow colors on the screen here. This shows that sunlight or white light is a mixture of 7 colors, right? So if we talk about the band of colors, it is called spectrum. As it is visible to the human eye, so it is called the visible spectrum. When light falls on an object, it absorbs a few of the colors and reflects the rest. If in your room where you are sitting, there are different objects of different colors, you are able to see and you are able to differentiate between the colors just because of the property of the light, that yes, whenever light falls on that object, the color that reflects, if it is of red color, that means it is reflecting only red color and you can see the red color object. And if it is of blue color, that means it absorbs all the color, that when the light falls on a blue object, it absorbs all the color, only one color it reflects, that is blue color, and this is how you can see that object in blue color, right? Now let's understand the next one. Mixing the rainbow colors produce white light. If the 7 colors are mixed together, it produces white light. Very good example, it's a Newton's color disc is a color disc which is painted with the colors of light, white light, that is Vibgyor, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red, in equal proportion, so that when it is rotated very fast, the disc appears white. This is because of a property of our eyes called persistence of vision. This means that an object image formed by eye remains for a fraction of a second. When the disc is rotated at higher speed, the images of the different color, they overlap in our eyes and the brain perceives it as white. So this is all about your chapter. I hope you are able to understand that. So in this chapter we have learned rectilinear propagation of light, mirrors, types of mirrors, lenses, spherical lenses, types of spherical lenses, their uses. Then we discussed about colors, how these colors split, how white light split into 7 colors, and Newton's disc, good example we have heard and we have understood the concept. So with this, our chapter is complete. I hope you are able to understand the concept, and if you still find any problem, you can ask your subject teachers for that. Thank you children. Have a nice day.